I guess coming to prepare this presentation, I've had to thought about what I was actually passionate about. There are a couple of things I'm really passionate about in life. I guess that first thing that I'm passionate about very much is my family. It's a centre of what we're looking at. I've got the slides on progressing speed. Oh yes, there it is. It's a long 15 seconds. Passionate about my family. I'm passionate also about cycling. I used to race quite a bit. And the only reason I'll be here tonight is because I'm passionate about GIS. And that's the reason we're all here today. Now we're at a Belgian pub. What about passionate Belgians? If you're into cycling, you'll probably see some very passionate Belgian cycling fans. They're odd, they hang out in really wet weather and watch people race in terrible conditions, but they're passionate enough to bring their beer with them when they're watching their races. So what's this got to do with you guys? Well, not exactly that much in regards to the beer, but I guess it's where does passion and GIS actually take us? We're all kind of the focus of this industry over here, but how far have we actually implemented GIS in our organisations or through organisations? And that's the question I want to ask you guys. We've seen a lot of use of GIS and web mapping around the place for a number of years. Everyone's showing mashups tonight and talked about a number of things. But what else have we actually done with GIS and how important is it to your business? Say, for example, you might have the tea lady come on, and what happens if she accidentally kicks the cord out of the actual GIS? If that happens, do you have the CEO knocking on your door? Is it that important that something happens in your business? Are you mission critical? Is the question. And that's a really important thing to ask about. How important is GIS within your organisation? Our vision within our company is to see all organisations adopt location intelligence as a critical success factor. We're talking critical here. It's kind of putting your neck or other things potentially on the block. So it's important to kind of try and focus on things. And I guess the question tonight is GIS within your organisations or the organisations you work for mission critical? Should it be mission critical or should it be a vital part of their business? And this is where we come to start talking about geo-enablement. Now, I guess we need to try and get a little bit more serious about our industry and try and move it to the next stage. We don't want to just have GIS on a desktop, so we don't want to be kind of seen as a poor cousin to IT. We need to start moving ourselves up to the enterprise level. And so that's what I'm talking about when we're talking geo-enablement. Some people talk about 80% of data having a spatial component, but do 80% of business systems have a spatial component as well? The other thing that you might want to be aware of is 43.5% of statistics are made up on the spot, so you might have that. In businesses, we quite often talk about silos of information, silos of what's going on, different bits of data, very hard to access them. And us as GIS professionals see GIS as really the link or the glue between potential business systems, and that's what we're talking about with geo-enablement. The interesting thing with glue is when you stick two things together, you don't see the glue all the time. You don't always see the map and so on. So we've got to start thinking of using GIS and spatial processes differently. And this is what geo-enablement is for a geo-enabled business. Most of you would probably be working more in what we classify as a geocentric business, where you're focusing on kind of the world being the centre of everything. And we need to start turning around and putting things on their heads a little bit, if possible. So how do we do this? I guess the important thing we want to try and do is unite GIS with the business and have that marriage made in heaven. You could make a threesome and include IT, but in some ways kind of IT is GIS and GIS is IT. So how do you do it? There's a number of things you need to find out about the business and understand, and I've got them listed up there as bullet points, but most importantly we need to understand can GIS help the business? Is it going to actually make a difference? You don't want to go down this path if that's not the right thing. If you're going to go down this path, you need to actually have a very accurate plan and understanding of what you're doing. If you fail to plan for you have to go how it all goes. But planning and strategy is a vital part of going forward, and then the hard work starts. It's never that overnight success for implementing a system. You're looking at having to put in a lot of hard work and effort to actually get that magic there and make things happen. So I guess what we're talking about here within this space is looking at trying to challenge you guys to go back and think about your businesses and your organisations, and could you look at integrating GIS within your business in a different way? Could you look at geo-enabling part of that business and see what we can do? My apologies to JFK for that. And assuming everything goes well, you might have some sort of success like this fellow has here. We're looking at enabling their business systems, but you need to have that passion I talked about that we all have here, and you need to have the motivation to make sure this comes out and is successful. So I hope you guys had a fantastic night tonight. If you haven't, you might be doing November. Keen for sponsorship. Thank you guys.